Okay, so for problem 1.10, we're given these three states right here, which only differ by some negative signs here and there. And it said to find the probabilities for up and down in the X, Y, and Z directions, and then compare the results between these and see what these like flips of negative signs do. So I haven't really figured out how I'm going to do this yet. This could take a while, but we'll see how it goes. And if I need to split it into two videos, then I'll do so. So let's just get started here. Let's do the Z because it's easiest first. So we'll do it for the first one. Well, maybe let's do all three, X, Y, and Z for each of them. Sure. So the first one, let's do up in the Z with our first state. And this will be the probabilities. So that's going to be the bra. And so for reference, I wrote our up and down in X and up and down in, this should be Y here. So we have them. So we got the bra for the up in the Z, which is just the bra up in Z. And then our first state. So that's going to be 4/5 up plus I 3/5 down. Okay. And then so we keep the up. I'll try to go through these pretty quickly. So we keep the 4/5. A plus and a minus cancel out. So then we square that, and that's going to be 16 over 25. And that's going to be our up in our Z for our first state. So plus Z1 I'll do, and that's going to be 16/25. And we can see also that minus is going to be 9/25, but I'll show that real quick. So minus and plus cancel out. We keep the minus and minus. We have I 3 over 5 squared. So we have I 3 over 5 times negative I 3 over 5 with the complex conjugate. The negative I times I cancel out. That becomes 1. And then that becomes 9 over 25. So minus in the z direction for our first date is going to be 9 over 25. Okay. So let's go ahead and do, I flipped that, I forgot to flip that, but you get the idea. So we'll do up in the x, up in the x. So so up in the x is going to be this state right here. So we'll do the bra for this. So that's going to be 1 over root 2 up plus 1 over root 2 down, bra. And then our first state again, 4 over 5 up plus I 3 over 5 down. All right, so we got a plus and a plus. So let's do 4 over 5 root 2. Plus and minus cancel, minus plus cancel, minus minus we keep. And it's going to be plus I 3 over 5 root 2. Again, we're going to square this. So that's going to be multiplied by its complex conjugate. So 4 over 5 root 2 minus I 3 over 5 root 2. We can go ahead and FOIL this out. So we have 16 over 25 times 2 is 50. Then we have a minus I 12 over 50. We have a plus 12, I 12 over 50. And then we have a minus I squared 9 over 50. All right, so these are going to cancel out. 16/50s are 8/25. Actually, let's go ahead and keep that. I wrote 5 here. 50. Let's keep that like that for now. I squared, that's going to flip the sign. So we're going to have 16 plus 9 over 50, which is going to give us 25 over 50. And that's going to be equal to 1/2. So up in the x direction for the first state is going to be 1/2. And so we should get 1/2 for down also. So what's going to be different here? Let's see. So our minus state is just going to have a minus sign right here. And again, if you want to change this here, it's going to be minus in the x, so we know what we're doing. So again, we have our plus and our plus. We have 4 over 5 root 2. We have minus I3 over 5 root 2. And that's going to end up being the same as it was last time. So we'll do 4 over 5 root 2 plus I3 over 5 root 2. And again, FOIL this out. So we have 16 over 50 plus I12 over 50 minus I12 over 50 minus I squared 9 over 50. Again, these cancel out. Again, it's going to be 16. So this is going to cancel out. That's going to be plus. And then that's going to be 25 over 50 again, or 1/2. So minus in the x for the first state is going to be 1/2 also. Okay, so we're going through these. So next we have y. I should have left that up. Okay. So let's do plus in the y. And same thing. So plus in the y is going to be, so we're doing the bra here, 1 over root 2 up. And now we have to do minus I because we have, we're doing the bra, this should be the bra state for this one here. So we have to complex conjugate that I. So minus I, 1 over root 2 down. Okay. And then our state here is going to be, again, 4 over 5 up plus I 3 over 5 down. Should be getting the hang of this by now. Up and up is going to be 4 over 5 root 2. Everything cancels except for this. So we have a minus I squared 3 over 5 root 2. And so this is actually going to cancel here. It's going to flip the sign and become plus. And we're going to be squaring this. So this is going to end up being, we can combine those two fractions and be 7 over 5 root 2 squared. And that's going to be 49 over 50. So up in the y direction for our first state is going to be 49 over 50. And lastly, we'll do minus in y. I think the only change we're going to have is flip the sign. So this is going to be, for the down direction for the y, it's going to be minus I, but we're taking the bra state, so we complex conjugate that, and it's going to be plus. So plus I. So do this again. 1 over root 2. Nope, that's not right. 4 over 5 root 2. And then our last term is going to be plus I squared 3 over 5 root 2. All right, and so our I squared is going to flip the sign. This is going to be 4 minus 3. And again, this is going to be squared. So that's going to be equal to negative 1 over 5 root 2 squared. And also it's the magnitude squared. Doesn't matter because you're squaring it anyway, so it's going to become positive. That's going to be equal to 1 over 50. So minus in the y for state 1 equals 1 over 50. Okay, and that's our 3 for our first one here. So get rid of that, and let's move on to 2. I don't want to write these here. We'll figure it out. So let's start with our z basics again. So let's do just plus in our z basis for 2. And so 2, it's going to be 4/5 minus I this time. Minus I. All right, so our upstate in our z basis, that's nice and easy. So that's 4 over 5 squared, which is going to be 16 over 25. All right, so that's going to be, let's see here. Let's write this plus, I'm going to rewrite this real quick. Equals 6, kind of write it a little bit smaller, equals 16 over 25. Down in our z for the first state equals 9 over 25. Plus in our x for the first state is 1/2. half down in our x for the first state equals 1 half. Up in our y for 1 is 49 over 50. And our down in our y equals 1 over 50. I'm going to erase these just so we can compare these side by side. All right, so now we have up in our z for 2, and that's going to also be 16 over 25. All right, and then so our down in our z, we're going to take the down here, so it's going to be negative I 3/5. We're going to square it with a complex conjugate, so I 3/5. I'm going to have a negative I squared. It's going to be a positive 1, and it's going to be equal to 9/25. So down in our z for state 2 is going to be also 9/25. No change so far. All right, so that's our z direction. So let's do our x. So our x is here. We have 1 over root 2. This is for our up, up, plus 1 over root 2 down. And FOIL this again. Our up and our up is going to be 4 over 5 root 2. And our down is going to be minus I 3 over 5 root 2. All right, multiply that with a complex conjugate, so 4 over 5 root 2 plus I 3 over 5 root 2. FOIL this out, so we have 16 over 50. We have a plus I 12 over 50 minus I 12 over 50 minus I squared 9 over 50. We've seen this before. These cancel out. This flips signs to a plus. 16 plus 9 is 25 over 50, which is 1/2. So our plus in our x direction for state 2 is 1/2. Still no changes. So for our down in our x, we have a change of sign. It's going to be minus 1 over root 2, which is going to change what? So we still have 4 over 5 root 2 here. And then our last terms is going to be a negative and a negative to make a positive. So that's going to be plus I here. But when we multiply it with this complex conjugate, then this would become minus I. And we can already see this is going to be the same calculation. Run through it real quick anyways. 16 over 50. We know that these outer and inner terms are going to cancel out. And then we have minus I squared 9 over 50. This changes signs to be a plus. And then 16 plus 9 is 25 over 50, which is again 1/2. Minus our x for state 2 equals 1/2. Still no changes so far. All right, so now we've got our y direction. So let's do plus in y. And that's going to be, again, complex conjugate this. We do have an I in this, so when we take the bra state, we need to flip the sign for the I. So it's going to be minus, I just add an I in there. So this is going to be our bra for our up in the y direction. So go ahead and multiply this out. We've got 4 over 5 root 2. And then outer cancels, inner cancels. Our last term is going to be plus I squared 3 over 5 root 2. And then multiply that with this. No, we don't need to complex conjugate that because this I squared is going to flip the sign. We have a minus here. So it's going to be a negative 1 over 5 root 2 squared, and that's going to be 1 over 50. So we have our first difference here. So this is going to be up in the y direction for state 2 is going to be 1 over 50. So we did that right, right? We did that right. So now our down and our y is going to be plus I. When we complex conjugate that for the bra state, it's going to be plus I. So Now we've got 4 over 5 root 2 minus I squared 9 over 5 root 2. And then we have an I squared here, so flip the sign. And we have a plus here. And then we're going to have, did I do that right? I feel like I missed something here. That's going to be 13 over 5 root 2 squared. And that does not seem right. What did I miss here? Right, because this should be 49 over 50, as long as we did the math for that correctly. Let me just look at this again real quick. So 1 over root 2 plus I 1 over root 2. Just rewrite it again to see if I made any mistakes here. So we have 4 over 5 root 2. And then we have our minus I squared 3 over, oh, did I write 9? Oh, that's why I squared it too early. Okay, 5 root 2. All right, so yeah, so again, this sign is going to flip. It's going to be plus, and then still going to be squared, equals 7 over 5 root 2 squared, and that's going to give us what we expected here. So down in the y direction for state 2 is 49 over 50. All right. So that's our second state. So moving on to our third state is going to be negative 4/5 minus I 3/5. All right, so starting from the beginning again. So we can fit this all in one video. We're flying through here. Probably go even faster by skipping some steps, but I kind of just want to keep on showing this over and over again, just for practice. So our plus and minus will cancel out, so we'll keep the negative 4 over 5 squared, and that's going to be the magnitude and then squared anyways, so it's going to be 16/25 again. So plus in our z direction for state 3 is going to be, again, 16 over 25. And we can see also that our minus will be the same also. We'll keep the negative I 3/5, multiply it with a complex conjugate, so plus I over 3/5. The negative I squared will cancel out, become positive 1, and we'll be left with 9 over 25. So down in our z for state 3 is going to be, again, 9 over 25. Whew. All right, so fun part now is our x is going to be plus, in our x is going to be 1 over root 2 up bra plus 1 over root 2 down bra. Plus in our plus is going to be negative 4 over 5 root 2. Let's do minus I 3 over 5 root 2 times its complex conjugate. So we have still negative. So we don't flip the sign for this, just as a reminder. We've done this a lot now, so I'm guessing you've got this by now. But we don't flip the sign for this because there's no imaginary numbers in there. We only flip the signs where we see i's. 4 over 5 root 2 plus I 3 over 5 root 2. And we'll FOIL this out. So we have a positive 16 over 50. We have a minus I 12 over 50. We have a plus I 12 over 50. And we have a minus I squared 9 over 50. So again, these cancel out. We've seen the 16 plus 9 a whole bunch of times. I squared flips the sign. So that becomes 25 over 50, or 1/2. So our up in our x direction for state 3 equals 1/2. Whew. All right, so let's flip some signs here. So x in the down is going to be minus. This is going to stay the same. Minus and a minus make a positive. And then so if we're have a positive I here, we need a negative I here. And it's going to be the same calculation. So we've got the same thing here. So 16 over 50, the negatives cancel out. We know that our outer and inner terms are going to cancel out. And then we'll be left with, again, a negative I squared, 9 over 50. And again, we can see that this is 1/2 again. So down in the x for our state 3 is 1/2 chance. All right, and then finally our y's, and then we'll wrap this up. Up in our y is going to be complex conjugate of this because it's the bra state again. So it's going to be minus I 1 over root 2. And we got negative 4 over root 5. 5 root 2. And then we have a negative and a negative, so we have plus I squared 3 over 5 root 2. This plus I squared is going to flip the sign, so we have minus. So we have a negative 4 minus 3 is going to be, again, it's going to be squared, it's going to be negative 7 over 5 root 2 squared, and that's going to be 49. So plus in the y direction for state 3 is going to be 49 over 50. All right, and then finally, last but not least, flip the sign here. We have negative 4 over 5 root 2. We have a positive and a negative I, so minus I squared 3 over 5 root 2. The I squared flips the sign, so it's going to be plus. So we're going to have a negative 4 plus 3 is going to give us a negative 1 over 5 root 2, and then we'll square that. And that's going to be down in the y direction for state 3 is going to give us a 1 in 50 chance. So we've got all of our probabilities here. So that was a lot of practice. So if you weren't good calculating probabilities, you probably are after seeing all that. So we can see here that our up and down for our z direction are all the same for all 3 of these. Our x directions are also the same. For the y direction, our first and our third are the same. The only thing that is different is here between states 2 and 3. So we could see that states 1 and 3 are the same across the board. If you look at these, the difference is basically a negative across the board. So this was positive, and now this is negative and negative. So this is a difference. So these two right here are a difference of e to the negative I pi, I think it is, which is negative 1. So if you multiply both of these by that phase, then it's the same state. So physically, these two are the exact same state, which is why we have the same results. Now, 2 is not the same because if we look at this, only the second term is negative. So this isn't just flipped all the way negative. So this one is all the way positive. This one is all the way negative. This one is actually physically different from this, and we can see that from the results here. So hope that was not too difficult. So moving on to 1.11 next.